no handing it up the next day, no coming and saying, oh, I'm not ready with the presentation. You've had weeks, you've had months. And I've said before, it's about, a lot of this course is about practicing time management. If you haven't done this sort of work before, you've got to have it done. Simple as that. Otherwise, it's recorded as a fail, and ultimately, if you fail one unit, you don't get a diploma.
Just on average, how many slides do you want the to be?
That is what I call a piece of string question, Wally. A piece of string can be that long. Yeah. It can be 50 metres, can't it?
You just gotta have to cover the actual time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And look, I've said a very important principle, which is if you're in doubt, have more slides and more visuals, and a visual per point. Now. Okay. I can't say a number because I don't know how many points you want to make. Maybe you might want to make 37 points, and he told me he wants to make 18. Yeah. You're going to have a quite different number of slides.
Yeah. I was just wondering, I was thinking of just making slides for just dot points and then pictures after to make it more clear, because I don't want to put them in the same slide because then it might be jammed up and too much.
I think generally you shouldn't have a slide with just dot points.
Okay. So
right? Because that's just text, and people, even just unconsciously, they just turn off a bit. Okay. A picture is a kind of window into the topic, and it's an emotional window. We feel connected.
Okay.
Just try to make sure, at least 95%.
Okay. So say if
have pictures.
Yeah. So I'll put the dot points like that and add one picture, but then I want to show more pictures about that point. Can I make that? You could have just a few slides of just pictures. Okay. Yeah. That's
and you've got a planned explanation with just those pictures. Sure.
Yeah, that's what
no problem in just having the visuals.
Yeah. Can you have cue cards or speech?
Absolutely. If you want to have little cards, you can. Yeah. There is a way on PowerPoint. You can see it there. Can you see down the bottom? Add notes.
Okay.
Now I can write in here, pollution is 3 times more than 2005. I'm just making that up, right? But you can write all your information that you want to speak. So cue cards, you could have them, hard copy in your hand. And you get nervous and all your cards go, right? One way of controlling that. You have them electronic. Now if you put them there, when you come to present, what happens is you can see those notes, but the audience won't see that. So in other words, instead of having them in your hand where they can get mixed up or lost or whatever, you've got your notes written at the bottom. Can you see there? As I'm making this, see down the bottom, there's just...
How you plan it?
I've just written that in there. Look, I'll just take it out. X. Right. So look, that slide there. If I want notes for that, I can write a little note to myself. Remember to talk about your friend's experience. That's going to be my anecdote. Yeah. About the people who...
How you did it? How you did this?
It just automatically comes up. For each one of these, can you see, look, I'll click there.
My computer it didn't come up.
Right. You've got PowerPoint open and it's not showing?
I will try.
Okay. Just check the one at home. There must be, I don't know, look, it automatically comes up. There must be a way, somewhere, where you can open up that box. I'll play around with it in a minute and I'll have a look for you, Hannah. Does somebody else know? You found it? Good.
But I don't know if it is at home or not.
So just try it out. Make sure, of course, that towards the end of your preparation, you run it like slideshow and you go from beginning. Now, why is that not showing my notes? I'm not sure. Can't see my notes there. Right, so something's wrong, so I'm going to have to get in there and make sure that the notes are showing when you present, all right?
They don't show when you put the pictures on.
They should. They should. Are they showing on yours? Yeah, so I've got some setting that I need to adjust. So, those are the sort of things you're going to have to test, aren't you? What I would do is this. just as a backup, Murphy's Law, something can go wrong or will. You connect to my computer, for some reason my computer may not show it. Alright, oh my god, all my notes. Print the whole thing off. You can print your whole thing off, and in the print options it says, let's see if we can find it. Print all slides. There's something about notes, print notes. Print entire presentation, right, see there? Yeah, print entire, so not, if I printed that, I should print it and I would get the notes as well. It's part of your print options. I think if I select entire presentation, I'll get everything including the notes. So I have a hard copy of it as a backup, in case for some reason the electronic version doesn't work. Right?
Yeah, what do you think of speeches? Do you know, like example, the speech like that, do you think that's a kind of option, or you don't recommend that?
Well, anything you're going to talk is a speech, isn't it? But I think you mean, should you have it written down?
Yeah, on a piece of paper.
Okay.
Someone could be reading that.
Yes. All right. Here. Good question. Thank you for reminding me about the point. Don't read your speech. Don't read your speech. What happens when we read? Okay, hopefully, if I drew what's happening with my voice now, as I'm trying to demonstrate things, my voice is going up and down and hopefully getting a bit excited here and stressing this, and you know, it's natural and it's moving, isn't it? You try reading, especially in a second language, and it goes sort of like that. And, I mean, it depends how experienced a reader you are, but, you know, even reading around in class, some people are not that fluent. The employer shall discuss with the employees affected and their union, or unions among other things, the introduction of changes, you know, the rhythm of everything, people will go to sleep. And I would rather, definitely, absolutely, I've heard thousands of presentations. If you speak naturally, making the grammar up as you go, you've just got your little points, no longer than that. Look there, I haven't written out a kind of copy of the story, I'm just going to tell it. And no doubt, if you jump up and tell it, there'll be grammar errors. But your voice will be living and lively. And at this level, you can communicate pretty much what you want. And sure, there'll be grammar errors, but I'd much rather listen to something that was live and spontaneous and exciting with some grammar errors than something that's perfect grammatically, but dead. That's a really important point. Don't read your speech. If you're a professional actor who reads stuff all the time, or politicians who read stuff all the time, certain jobs, people read and have to inject emotion and they get that. But it often takes years of practice, and most of us haven't done it, even natives. You get a native to read and their voice will tend to flatten out like that. You know, we want a nice lively performance. I don't care about grammar errors. We're talking about what's happening here is communication, not necessarily perfectly accurate grammar. But I've heard many people give some of the best communication talks, and they're kind of the lowest people grammatically in the class. Because there's liveliness, there's visual interest, they've done all their hooks, they've got nice clear structure, there's a bit of humour here and there, whatever, you know. That's really cool. Might be grammar errors, and who cares? Okay, so, yeah, don't read your speech. Also, don't memorise it. Same problem. The Great Barrier Reef was formed 5,000 years before present, but it looks as though it might all be destroyed by 2050, according to the University of Queensland. You're just kind of reading it, you know. It's like, yeah, hang me now. Yeah. Right. That's what happens generally. Again, unless you're an actor or somebody who's really practiced at memorising and then injecting life, it's really hard to do. And I can tell immediately if somebody's memorised. because it usually gets this kind of dead quality to it. You know, the natural living you, with all your, as we say, the warts, the bumps, you know, doesn't matter. I'd much rather hear the real living, breathing you with a few grammar errors and repetitions any day.
In the introduction or in the hook, can I talk about my experience, personal experience starting?
That's right. Yeah, it could be your personal experience. It doesn't have to be somebody else's. It kind of almost adds a more of a hook if it's you. So yes. Another thing that sometimes people do with this one, why I'm giving this presentation. You know, I'm giving this presentation on the Great Barrier Reef because, and you tell some sort of story about, you know, I mean, I could say something like, well, from the age of 10 to 18, I lived on a farm, you know, and most days I went walking on the farm and I went walking into the forest, and so I grew up really connected with nature. And so for me, ever since then, the environment's been incredibly important to me. And you know, you expand the story. And then we get a kind of little personal window, and then we usually identify with you, and we're emotionally connected. So, yeah, often, you know, why I'm presenting on this could be part of your anecdote strategy. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to talk about that, but it's just another method.
And in my topic, like public school versus private school,
Yes.
so I don't have pictures to put in the...
There's pictures for everything. There's pictures for everything.
I have to put some graphs and...
Yeah, graphs, absolutely. Now that's the last thing I wanted to talk about, and because we've got a time problem, because I just realised we've only got half an hour. I'm used to finishing at 1 o'clock. I'm still on my old pattern, so we've got a problem with essay swapping. I'll talk about that in a minute. But last thing I want to say on visual variety. Okay, what sort of visuals? As you mentioned, it could be pics, is the most obvious, right? But graphs, tables, but even artwork. Could be an interesting sketch of something. Could be, remember I said, inject a bit of humour. Maybe 1 or 2 cartoons somewhere through the piece. Maps, etc., etc., etc. Try to make not just all photos, not just all graphs, not just all, you know, tables. We want variety, just like we want variety in your voice, we want variety in your visuals. Try to, you know, this will make it lively, organic, interesting, etc. Okay, I think that's probably... So as you can see, what we've been talking about here is not so much the technical aspects of PowerPoint, it's much more how you work it psychologically and in terms of broader communication strategies. Okay, now, I think, because of time, sorry I've mismanaged this. Here, I'll give you a checklist of the things to look at in a minute when you're going to swap with people. I'll go quickly through this because we've covered it all before. This is just a list to remind you. When you read your piece, and look, we will extend this swapping into tomorrow as well because we won't get it finished today now. But here are the things to look for in the first reading of somebody else's essay. Do not look at the language and the grammar. Oh, look, you should have a past tense here. Oh, that's misspelled. Don't bother. In fact, I really want you to switch that off, right? You're not looking at grammar and spelling and so on. That is our next edit. It's a different focus, the next one. What we're focusing on here is the broad shape of the thing, the structure. Because if you get this wrong, you're going to have to rewrite it, aren't you? There's no point in going and correcting all grammar and spelling if you suddenly realise, oh, that whole paragraph, I've got to throw it out. So we do the broad stuff first. Here's what we do. Look at the introduction. Does it start generally? Remember our broad opening. Giving a broad context. Is there a thesis statement? How many elements Are these elements then reflected in the sections in the right order? So there should be a question mark at the end of that. All right, the body. How many sections are there? Are they clear where they begin and end? They should reflect the elements in the thesis stage. Within the sections, is the paragraphing appropriate? That is there a different paragraph where there's a slight change of topic within the section? Are there mini conclusions at the end of each section? Clear topic sentence. Don't have to go through all this, you know it, it's just a reminder. Do at least some of the topic sentences have words that refer to other parts of the essay. Remember I talked about that idea of tying in your topic sentence, tying it back usually to the earlier paragraph and an idea in the previous paragraph with additionally also, moreover, in contrast, those linking words. Topic sentences often carry those. Not every single one, but probably a majority should. So when you're reading your partner's work, is that happening in their piece? Are there clear topic words in the topic sentence? Remember that idea of the key word in the key sentence that makes the idea really clear? That focus the reader on the main issue of that paragraph? Is the topic sentence supported with appropriate evidence, examples, proof and or argument and explanation in the rest of the paragraph? So is the rest of the paragraph supporting the topic sentence? Are there logical flaws or fallacies in the arguments? That's going to be important. You can have the most beautiful English in the world, but you've got an appeal to tradition in there or an overgeneralisation, and we haven't been through all of this. Hopefully by the end of the week we will, and you'll probably have a better idea of how to analyse your own thinking. Okay, but what you know already, and just previous experience, use that. So reading with a critical eye about the logic and the evidence of what people are saying. Is evidence provided to support and substantiate all claims, or are people just claiming things and there's no evidence to support it? The Great Barrier Reef will be dead halfway through the century. Full stop. No evidence, no sources. You know, why? Who says we need that support? Is the evidence convincing and reliable? What's the reliability of the sources that's been used for evidence? So are they coming from academic sources or reliable media sources? That's often hard to judge, but do your best. Is the language throughout? So here is a bit of focus on language, but it's not grammatical. It's just this issue of, remember, trying to remain fairly detached and not too emotional with your language. So is the writer relying on logos, argument and evidence, and ethos, reliability of source, rather than emotional words to convince us? Keep your eye on that. We talked about that. So those are things to think about in the body. Conclusion. Are the key arguments repackaged and summarised? So a bit of this sort of thing. Leading to recommendation or implications. Remember that technique in your conclusion. Is there a final broadening in the last sentence that connects the whole topic back with the broader context of the social issue that you've been looking at? Okay, that's a reminder. Okay, now because of our time situation, we only got 20 minutes, so probably what's going to happen is use your time now, swap, have a read, have a pen, and I want you to be actively attacking that piece. Right? Fallacy here, no topic sentence, great linking, positives as well. Linking, fantastic, really clear keyword, great recommendation, nice and clear, Put lots of comments all over your partner's piece. They will thank you for it. Now, so one thing I want to say at the beginning of this is don't hold back with your criticism, all right? If you criticise it, and then probably tomorrow when you sit down and get with the other person, they say, oh, hang on, no, I did do this, and you realise, oh yeah, they did, you learned something. If you're right, they learn something, yeah? So through that process, everybody learns, but if you don't say it, no one learns, all right? And there's a general tendency to hold back out of politeness or whatever, but it's called tough love. Tough love, ladies and gentlemen. Collocation. Be tough, and you'll help that person. All right, so swap your piece, and what I'd like you to do is this. Read what you can with this in mind. Be active and mark points and underline stuff, ready to give them feedback. I expect you'll take most, we're going to have to finish a little bit before 12:30. You'll probably not finish even reading it. So take it home, read it again, attack it again. All right? Tomorrow we'll get together and you'll give each other the feedback.
What about if it's in a book?
What's that?
In a book.
If it's in a book, can you photocopy it? Or can you do without the book for one night?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, just do that, Ahmed. All right? And yeah, we ran out of time. I'm sorry about that. Tomorrow, you'll be giving each other feedback. If you happen to get it read and you're ready for feedback, you might be able to do it in the last 5 minutes. Okay, over to you. Swap with someone and get into it.